Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful to see you and have you here today. My name is Greer. I'm CEO of Secure Content Technologies, and I'm really happy to have Justin Beachler with me. He's the Global Director of Trust and Security for Bugcrowd. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Awesome. So we've got what I consider to be a very hot topic and actually a very exciting topic today of how AI is changing the offensive security landscape. That is such an important topic. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that issue, Justin, and how adversaries are using AI to their advantage.
Yeah, it is. It's a very wide open topic, right? As we're finding like month to month as this thing evolves, right? It seems like every day there's something new. On the adversary front, I think it's particularly interesting because I think there's some obvious things that come out right away, which is I think the stuff that hits Main Street America too, which is the all of a sudden like the phishing attempts. It used to be that you could stare at an email and go, oh well, this like the English in this is really bad. Like I'm suspicious. Right now, it's almost like the opposite. It's almost like the English is too good here. Like now, I'm suspicious. And so we're seeing some of that come out in the phishing and vishing stuff that adversaries are using just to kind of target people. But then you have stuff that's more of a like a tool set evolution that's coming across where people, adversaries, whether they work for nation states or they're doing their own private enterprise, they're using AI to be able to discover things more quickly, right? They're actually looking for different types of vulnerabilities, and it used to be that you had to have some sort of scanner that would maybe find something and tip you off, and then you'd have to spend some time. Well, that's getting even better with some of these kind of AI agents that they're building capabilities into to be able to go out and say, bring me something that looks kind of like this type of a vulnerability because I know that I can most likely weaponize that in some format. And so that's getting better. And so the speed of the adversary to be able to find something and the time to exploitation is shrinking with a lot of these AI tools.
Got you. So, what new risks are you seeing that AI introduces into the offensive security landscape? So,
Yeah, there's a bunch here because I look back at the start of like kind of like the growing of the application security landscape or the cloud security landscape. There's a point in time where we're all just trying to figure it out, right? And we've had decades in those verticals to be able to define vulnerability categories and like what looks like a certain type of attack. And in the ever-changing AI landscape, that's even more wide open, right? It's a lot harder to even categorize the types of vulnerabilities that we see, and it even goes broader into we're seeing a lot with companies and organizations where when it comes to AI specifically, and a lot of this is like LLM chatbots right now, a lot of those are being like it's safety issues. It's not even like pure security issues where it used to be, oh, if I can talk to a database like as a user, like that's really bad. It's a SQL injection vulnerability. Now it's like I don't want my chatbot to tell someone how to build a bomb. Like it's this wide open landscape of it's not necessarily like a security vulnerability, but in some people's eyes, it's certainly like a problem. And it's been falling to security teams to try and solve those things. And so the approaches that we've taken from an offensive security standpoint are changing with exactly how we approach individual implementations of AI and what people are doing with AI.
oh, that's fascinating. So, I think as enterprises start to get their minds around this massively big, still new issue, how should they maybe approach their security testing differently?
Yeah. So in I would say what today's market, a pre AI explosion market, it was usually a combination of I would buy software that would try and find vulnerabilities for me. I would engage with security companies to rent their expertise to come in and do something like a penetration test, to see what sorts of things above and beyond the technology were there. And I would hire some internal people that had particular skill sets that I think would be good for the kind of the genetic makeup of the company that I work for. And it's kind of that three-pronged approach that I've been taking, right? With AI and the kind of the versatility of what we're looking at from an offensive security landscape point of view, is we're seeing more and more companies that are looking at things like red teaming or bug bounty programs, because what it really falls down to is we need to get really creative here, because there's so many different ways to attack this thing that we need to like go even more broad and get some expertise and run like almost a more substantial program really focused on kind of the creativity of the attacks, in order to really feel good about the chatbot or whatever it is that you're rolling out within your organization. I think that's really where the change is occurring, is kind of in that shift from like a methodology based testing where like, oh, I got to make sure I check all the boxes, to we don't even know what the boxes are, like, so just let's get some really creative people that have experience here, and let's let them get creative and try and find impact, right? And that's really the purpose, is like, if you can show me that you can get a chatbot to do something that scares me, then I'm going to change how that chatbot behaves.
That's fascinating. So can you describe to our listeners what white hat hackers, and how they're using AI to strengthen their defenses? Because I think this is a really interesting avenue that maybe not everybody even knows what a white hat hacker is.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing battle, right? We see it even more broadly outside of our little area of security, is this term hacker, having a very negative connotation, right? So people tend to gravitate towards, well, I'm looking for penetration testers or red teamers, but like they're all hackers at heart, right? What really, it's the old example of the what separates a burglar from a locksmith, right? And it's ethics, right? So a white hat hacker is your locksmith, right? It's someone that knows a lot about how to mess with something that's supposed to keep something secure, but their ethics are what's driving them. They want to have people be more secure, so they're using their skill set to take that approach, right? So we see this play out with a lot of organizations where they're looking back to my earlier comment about like creativity and having more of a wide open landscape of threats to look out for. Is they're really looking for that expertise to come in and say, well, this is what I would do. Here's the impact that I could have. This is the risk that you have. And it's giving the organization a better handle on what steps they need to take to defend, what they're trying to protect, whether that's, data or reputation, or there's a bunch of stuff that goes into that. But yeah, it really leans into that, kind of the ethics driving, driving the results.
Interesting. So I think that clearly AI is moving at warp speed, right? And so the security behind it to combat it is going to have to move at warp speed. What do you think that we can expect major changes in offensive security due to AI? Like, as I'm trying to put that into words, it's a complicated topic because it is going to be moving so quickly. And I feel like people's heads are kind of spinning like, okay, I'm just getting my head around AI now. Now I need to get to how to secure it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like whatever we say today, 6 months from now, we're going to look back and go, well, it's a different ball game now. Like it's like it is moving so fast, and I think that speed is really going to be the catalyst for the biggest shift that organizations need to take in their kind of their defensive stance. Is AI is going to help both the locksmith and and the burglar, to the previous example. Like, they're going to be able to find vulnerabilities faster. They're going to be able to find more vulnerabilities, right? Especially the low hanging fruit stuff, the stuff that's easier for automation to find and contextualize. That's just going to grow, and the speed that you have to find it yourself and remediate it is going to shrink, before it can be exploited. So I think that's going to be a big problem for a lot of organizations, is like, how quickly can we find a vulnerability and respond to it? That's going to be a big change for organizations. As much as I'd love to say, like, it's going to get easier, it's not. It's actually going to get significantly harder, and speed is going to be kind of at the forefront of that. And I think where a lot of teams on the offensive security side are going to spend a lot of their time is, you've got AI on the adversary side and you've got AI on the defender side, and they're all, racing for those easier to find vulnerabilities. The real battleground is going to be at the creative vulnerabilities, like the stuff that AI is not going to be able to find or contextualize very well, but something that is, an expert security person can say, well, I've got this vulnerability over here, and I've got this one over here, and I know the application is supposed to do this. If I can string these two things together, it can actually get me that objective, right? And AI is not to the point where it can do those sorts of things. And so I think that's where the battleground is going to be, between like nation state adversaries and like financial services companies and stuff like that are trying to protect their data. Is how do we get the expertise to be able to find those things, and remediate them, or at least reduce the risk, before an adversary can get there.
I think you're absolutely spot on. This is just a fascinating conversation, and I think we should do it again in 3 months, or again in 6 months, and see exactly all the new things that we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah, it'd be fun to track what's changed since the last time, right?
Yeah.
Because it's guaranteed to change, right? In I'd say the early days of like the AI testing, which was like a year and a half ago, it feels like a long time ago. A lot of people were concerned with things like, I don't want my chatbot to be like, racist. Like, I'm rolling this out for like HR programs, and if like someone finds out that our chatbot is being discriminatory, that hits the media cycles, and that's terrible for us. Like, we don't want that to happen, right? And they're like, well, is that a vulnerability? Well, it's not really a vulnerability in the way that we think about vulnerabilities, but it's a concern, right? It's been falling to these security teams to say, well, let's see if we can see if the chatbot is, being discriminatory. Like, let's try and run some tests. Let's see if we can figure it out, because a lot of the kind of like the red teaming exercises and things are very similar to those sorts of programs. So we're seeing a lot of bleed over from what we consider to be like safety considerations into security considerations.
Well, and if you think about it, there's endless different things that you can search for or protect against, right? Maybe it's not racism. It could be any number of factors that you can't possibly research all of them.
Absolutely. We had there was a government entity that was looking at a program. It's actually there's a standard out there called C2PA, which it's kind of a fascinating story. It's a standard that they're rolling out to ensure that when you watch a video online, that it's a genuine video and it hasn't been tampered with. So it's kind of a way to do that, to protect, like in social media circles and things like that. It's like, am I watching this? Am I watching a deep fake? Am I watching like a video that's been tampered with? This standard is supposed to protect that, right? In a bunch of different ways. Well, the first question from an offensive security mindset is, well, that's interesting. Can I break it? Can I get around that? Can I put a deep fake out there that, you know, passes the checks that would tell people that this is an authentic video, but it's not, right? And so like all those sorts, it's really fueling a lot of these testing situations where we're bringing in people that are on the forefront of, you know, AI offensive security and giving them a challenge to say, like, try and break the standard and see where we get.
It's endless. I love this topic, and I appreciate you coming here and joining me today to go through all these things and give us a real education. I found it very, very insightful. So thank you so much.
Of course, happy to help.
All right, we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Justin.